You are a young woman from the Caucasus, captured for your stunning beauty in 1520. Picture this, right? You're gliding through those gleaming marble halls of Topkapi Palace in Istanbul. Yeah, that's the Ottoman Empire's powerhouse. Your silk slippers? They don't make a peep on those super-polished floors. It's eerie, almost like you're a ghost in this massive, opulent trap. And there's this elderly woman beside you, all decked out in these elaborate flowing robes that scream authority. She's leaning in close, her breath hot against your ear, whispering urgently. What she's about to drop on you. Oh man, it could be the difference between surviving the cutthroat world of the harem or vanishing forever into the dusty pages of history. Forgotten. Erased. Can you even imagine that kind of pressure? These aren't just some fancy palace etiquette tips, folks. No way. These are the invisible chains, the brutal, unbreakable rules that controlled every single intimate moment in the Ottoman harem. Shocking stuff, right? The bedroom laws in that place were so bizarre, so controlling, they'd leave modern folks like you and me in stunned silence. We're talking about rules that weren't suggestions or gentle guidelines. Oh no, these were ironclad laws, enforced by this complex hierarchy of women who held literal life-and-death power over hundreds of concubines, just like our imaginary you. Hundreds. Think about it. Women policing women in the name of the empire's ultimate control. Horrifying, isn't it? What you're about to dive into here comes straight from verified sources. Ottoman palace records, diplomatic accounts from foreign visitors who peeked behind the curtains, and even architectural evidence from the palace itself. This isn't some romanticized myth or Hollywood fluff. No, we're busting those myths wide open with cold, hard facts that reveal how an entire empire turned human sexuality into a weapon, a tool for absolute domination. Ready for the ride? Buckle up, because it's going to get intense. Let's start with the first rule that governed every woman's fate in there. This one? It was perhaps the most psychologically devastating of them all. Picture the scene. No concubine, no matter how drop-dead gorgeous she was or how much the Sultan seemed to favor her, was ever allowed to spend a full night in his bedchamber. Ever. This wasn't some new whim, it had been sacred law for centuries. Why? To stop any one woman from building real emotional intimacy with the most powerful man on the planet. The Sultan, the guy who ruled from Europe to the Middle East. So here's how it went down. The moment he drifted off to sleep, bam! You had to quietly gather your things and slip out into the complete darkness of the palace corridors. No lingering, no cuddles, just gone. And the enforcement? Cruel doesn't even cover it. Palace guards were stationed outside, monitoring the chambers all night long. If you were still there at dawn, immediate execution, no trial, no second chances, just done. Can you feel the terror of that? Lying there, heart pounding, waiting for his snores, knowing one wrong move could end you. But why this rule, you ask? It wasn't about the Sultan's comfort or some quirky preference. Oh no, this was strategic genius wrapped in cruelty. By banning overnight stays, the palace bigwigs ensured no woman could whisper pillow talk that might sway massive political decisions. We're talking wars, alliances, executions, the big stuff. It also crushed any chance of real emotional bonds forming. The Sultan stayed distant, his heart as locked away as his empire's treasures. Physical needs? Sure, fulfilled. But love, connection, forbidden. The isolation must have been soul-crushing. Imagine pouring your everything into pleasing him, only to be booted out like yesterday's news. Brutal. Hold on, though. Things got flipped in 1520 with a woman named Sultan. She was a Ukrainian captive, just like you in our story, and she changed the game forever. Her big defiance. Spending an entire night in Sultan Suleiman's chambers, staying right there until morning light poured through those intricate lattice windows. An act that should have cost her head. But instead, it launched her unprecedented rise to power. She went from newbie captive to one of the most influential women in Ottoman history. Shocking, right? The backlash in the harem? Immediate and explosive. Senior concubines who'd followed that overnight rule religiously for years, Decades even watched in absolute horror as this outsider smashed the most sacred law of imperial intimacy. The Valid Sultan, the Sultan's mom and the ultimate boss of the harem, saw her authority rocked to the core. This newcomer had turned a simple bedroom rebellion into a full-blown political revolution. Palace records, real, archived documents, described the chaos. Established women demanding harem's execution, screaming about tradition and order. Meanwhile, younger concubines whispered in the shadows, wondering if the old rules were crumbling. Does this mean we can try it too? The tension, the betrayal, it sent shockwaves that altered harem practices for good. No myth here, just proven history from those dusty Ottoman ledgers. Now, let's unpack the second rule that shaped bedroom life in the harem. It was called the one concubine, one son law, and its ripples went way beyond just babies. Give birth to a male heir. Boom, your intimate nights with the Sultan ended. Permanently, no more access. You'd be shuffled off to separate apartments in the massive harem complex, far from his bedchamber. Your romantic life? Over. But your political game? Just beginning as the mother of a potential future ruler. Think about the twisted dynamic this created. Pregnancy with a boy was the ultimate win. Huge apartments, more money pouring in, a whole staff of servants to raise your little prince. Status upgrade. But at what cost? You'd lose that physical closeness forever, the very thing that got you noticed in the first place. Those new suites were luxurious, sure, decked out with expensive tiles, silk-covered divans, fountains tinkling in the background. But they were deliberately placed miles away from the Sultan's private quarters. You'd sit there, watching your influence grow, knowing you'd never feel his touch again. Heartbreaking trade-off, don't you think? Personal drama at its peak. What if you had a daughter instead? Totally different fate. You'd keep your bedroom privileges, staying in the rotation to compete for his attention night after night. But the anxiety, crushing, every pregnancy carried the risk. What if this one's a boy? Then it's goodbye to intimacy. Palace records, again verified facts, detail how these women went to extreme lengths to prevent or delay sons. Herbs smuggled in, careful timing methods based on lunar cycles or whatever they could grasp. Their bodies became battlegrounds, torn between desire for favor and strategic survival. Can you imagine living with that constant dread? One wrong conception and your world flips. The selection process for even getting into his bedchamber? Oh boy, it was a nightmare of invasion and judgment. Before any woman stepped foot in there, she faced examinations more probing than anything you'd see in a doctor's office today. Palace midwives handled these so-called purity tests, but they went way beyond checking virginity. We're talking bizarre specifics, measuring anatomical proportions like some twisted beauty pageant. Checking how you breathed in your sleep, even testing for snoring or sleep-talking. Make a peep that might disturb his rest, disqualified on the spot, sent off to menial duties like cleaning or serving food. No second chances. Punishment for potential disruptions, severe. The horror of being reduced to your body's quirks. Snoring could end your shot at power. And this wasn't myth. Architectural plans and medical logs from the palace confirm it. Imagine lying there during the exam, holding your breath, praying you pass. The personal stakes, the humiliation. For a grotesque peek, look at Sultan Ibrahim's reign in the 1640s. This guy, his obsessions were off the charts, twisting harem recruitment into something out of a horror story. After fixating on a cow's anatomy during a hunt, yes, a cow, he ordered golden replicas made. Exact models of, well, specific parts. Then he sent them empire-wide with orders for governors to find matching women. Imperial agents roamed from the Balkans to the Arabian deserts, carrying these golden oddities and conducting exams that stripped women of dignity. Reduced to measurements. Dehumanizing doesn't even cut it. The winner? A 330-pound Armenian woman named Maria, renamed Sevkir or Sugar Cube. She got prime spot in his harem. And his fur fetish? Wild. Believing animal pelts boosted his performance, he demanded furs from everywhere. Wolves, bears, you name it. chambers transformed into bizarre zoos of dead animals, Persian carpets swapped for wolfskins, walls draped in bear pelts, creepy decor for erotic vibes. Palace records detail the shipments, facts, not fiction. Imagine being forced into that fur-lined nightmare, the revulsion, the betrayal of your own body in such a setup. Bedroom access hierarchy, it ran like clockwork, documented with the precision of a modern spreadsheet. The palace treasurer kept these detailed diaries, every encounter logged. Dates, who was involved, what happened. Bureaucratic efficiency that'd make accountants jealous. But why? Beyond record-keeping, it prevented catfights by setting strict rotations. Your night? Scheduled weeks ahead, like a doctor's appointment. No romance, no spur-of-the-moment passion. Just cold planning. Violate the schedule? Fatal consequences. Take Gulfem Hatun, one of Suleiman's wives. She tried selling her assigned night to another concubine. A black market deal in intimacy. But when caught, executed without mercy. Bedroom time wasn't personal, it was state property. You couldn't trade it like goods. The scheming, the backstabbing, women turning on each other for a sliver of power. Heart-wrenching betrayal in a place where sisterhood should have thrived. The palace architecture itself, designed for control, not comfort. Sultan's chambers had hidden passages linking to spy rooms where trusted eunuchs could watch everything undetected. Privacy? A total illusion. Windows angled just right for guards to peek in from outside. Those famous Islamic tiles covering the walls. Not just pretty, they reflected light like subtle mirrors, aiding surveillance. Even in your most vulnerable moments, eyes were on you. Chilling. Imagine feeling watched during intimacy. The paranoia. Verified from blueprints, no tall tales. The rotation system? Military-level precision. The Walid Sultan tracked everything, menstrual cycles, pregnancy status, availability. Like a dystopian app monitoring your biology, monthly announcements were ceremonies, silk handkerchiefs handed out as signals. Gold-threaded one? You're golden, heading to his bed soon. Plain white, you've fallen from favor, maybe banished forever. The suspense. Weeks of waiting, heart in your throat. Will I get gold or white? Psychological warfare at its finest. Prep for your big night. Pure torture masked as pampering. Short diets so strict you'd faint. Women starving to look perfect, only to pass out mid-encounter. Lead-based cosmetics for that glowy skin. Slowly poisoned them, damaging organs over time. Palace records list the recipes. Facts that debunk the glamour myth. Imagine applying that stuff, knowing it's killing you slowly, all for his glance. The horror of self-destruction. Rituals kicked off days early. Isolated in special rooms, bathed in perfumed waters by teams of servants. Oils with aphrodisiac herbs slathered on. Dressed in silks meant for one use, then burned or archived as evidence. The waste, the symbolism of disposability. Escorted by eunuchs through secret routes, avoiding other women's eyes to prevent jealousy. From crowded dorms to his isolated lair, a powerless journey emphasizing your helplessness. Once inside, ritual city. Approach the bed from exact angles, never turning your back, even during the act. Why? Assassination fears. Every move scrutinized. Silence rule. No speaking unless ordered. No audible pleasure or pain. Control your breathing. Suppress reactions. Wear a mask of serene submission. Training taught faking it all, devastating to your humanity. Imagine biting your tongue, holding back tears or joy, just to survive. Aftermath, whisked away by eunuchs for immediate medical checks. Pregnancy detection within hours. Your body a vessel, not a person. Scribes noted every detail, duration, positions, his satisfaction. For paternity proof and future optimization. Bureaucracy invading the soul, horrifying invasion. The worst part? Emotions as dangers, show real affection, flagged as a threat, booted from rotation. Love equaled treason, potentially influencing him against empire interests. Gut punch. Your heart betraying you in a system that crushed feelings. Enforcement? A web of snitching. Seniors reported newbies' slips, newbies exposed favorites. Deliberate mistrust, no unity possible. The poison. Imagine no friends, only rivals in that gilded prison. Seasonal preferences added layers. Sultans cycled tastes by months or festivals. Blondes in summer, brunettes in winter. Admins tracked, recruited accordingly. Your worth timed to the calendar. Commoditized horror. Shadow economy inside. Trade info, favors, even nights. Fallen women sold jewels to bribe back in. Politics and beds intertwined. Drama everywhere. Training for newbies. 2 grueling years erasing your identity. Learn 17 languages, poetry, music, and intimate arts from survivors. Fake passion, read micro-expressions, perform devotion. Sexuality as scripted play, grad exam, simulate encounters before judges, critiqued on technique, emotion, submission. Fail, eternal servant. Pass, into the grinder, terrifying. Diets, physician dictated for fertility control, ban scent-altering foods, bodies as tuned instruments, dehumanizing. Beauty routines, deadly extremes, mercury for skin glow, poisoning nerves, caustic hair removal burning flesh, slow suicide for favor. Imagine the pain. Clothing, loaded symbols, elite silks for favorites, plain for others. Undress in choreographed sequences, visual tease of submission. Colors screamed status. These rules gripped the harem for over 600 years until the empire crumbled in 1922. Sex as policy tool, love as crime. Archives prove it, power corrupting humanity's essence. Shocking legacy, huh? What if echoes linger today? Think about it. But wait, let's dive deeper, because there's more to unpack in this twisted world. Remember Harem? Her defiance wasn't just a one-off, it inspired whispers of change. Younger women, seeing her thrive, started questioning everything. If she can break the overnight rule and live, why not us? The Valide's volcanic rage, documented in letters, her plotting to undermine Harem, only to fail as Suleiman fell harder. Personal drama, love triumphing over law, but at what cost to others? Expand on that one-son rule. Mothers of princes gained power, but isolation hit hard. Records show some descending into depression, watching sons grow while craving lost intimacy. Daughters' mums. Perpetual competitors, but the stress aged them prematurely. Herbs for birth control? Risky. Overdoses led to illnesses, even deaths. Verified medical notes debunk the glamorous harem myth. Real suffering. Selection horrors. Beyond snoring, they checked for scars, asymmetries, anything imperfect. Women altered bodies surgically, painfully. Ibrahim's cow obsession. Agents examined thousands. Many rejected felt worthless. Sevkir's story. She ruled his harem but endured mockery. Fur chambers. Smelled awful. Attracted pests. Nightmare living. Scheduling diaries. Included notes on performance. Women compared like athletes. Gulfham's execution. Public warning. Heads on spikes. Betrayal culture deepened isolation. Architecture spies. Eunuchs reported whispers, ensuring loyalty. Tiles reflections caught hidden daggers. Paranoia peak. Hanky ceremonies. Crowds gathered. Tension thick. White silk. Like a death sentence for ambition. Prep poisons. Lead caused madness. Diets malnutrition. Faints during acts. Blamed on women. Punished. Bath rituals. Hours submerged. Skin raw from scrubs. Silks. Imported at huge cost. Symbolizing empire's reach. Chamber rules. Backturn ban from real assassination attempts. History of poisoned favorites. Silence. Some women cracked, whispering accidentally, exiled or worse. Post-exam. If pregnant, celebrated. If not, scrutinized for failure. Emotion bans. Diaries note overly affectionate women vanishing mysteriously. Snitch system. Rewards for reports. Jewels. Better food. Poisoned bonds. Seasonal shifts. Festivals meant themed recruitments. Exotic dancers for Ramadan. Exhausting. Economy. Bribes to eunuchs for schedule leaks. High stakes gambling with lives. Training. Languages for seduction poetry, music to soothe, intimate arts, positions from ancient texts, practiced on pillows, exam, judges' critiques brutal, too mechanical, failures haunted as servants, diets, aphrodisiacs forced, side effects nausea, beauty, mercury blindness cases, hair removal scars, clothes, jewelry weighed down, symbolizing chains. This system endured because it worked, kept sultans focused, empire strong. But the human cost, immense. Archives scream of broken spirits. Imagine surviving that.